begin by saying this, that my communications director, Tyati Howard, always tells me something. He tells me that he who controls the frequency controls a generation.
Amen.
And while I have great respect for all of my panelists that are serving with me tonight, I want to tell you that I'm not going to censor anything for you tonight. And I'm going to tell you completely how it is and where we're at. National Action Network, and I serve with the Reverend Al Sharpton, who is a branch of the 1960s movement and who has been a fighter for the people and who has stuck his foot in the door without waiting for anybody to open the door. That's what we do, and that's what I do. I head up the chapter here for Reverend Al Sharpton here in San Diego, and I work with the Reverend to develop a civil rights and social justice agenda for the people of San Diego. And I just want to read a little bit about National Action Network because I think it's important for you to understand where I'm coming from in my foundation and my theological premise. National Action Network is one of the leading civil rights organizations in the nation with chapters throughout the entire United States. Founded in 1991 by the Reverend Al Sharpton, NAN works within the spirit and tradition of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to promote a modern-day civil rights agenda that includes the fight for one standard of justice, decency, and equal opportunities for all people regardless of race, religion, nationality, or gender. We work off of 6 initiatives: criminal justice, voter protection, anti-violence, jobs, corporate responsibility, NAN Ministers Initiative, and education, decency, membership. We're very structured in the way that we function, and we are diligent in our push. He who controls a frequency controls a generation is truly honest. And while I have great respect for all the panelists who have spoken before me, I must say, yes, racism is alive and well, but we are going to stick our foot in the door where they say they won't open the door. We are going to call you out in the media. We are going to call press conferences in front of your building. We're going to do whatever we need to do to get the message out. And I have seen the power here in San Diego. National Action Network has a powerhouse relationship with media. And I've seen the power of getting our narrative as blacks and browns and underserved and underrepresented on the screen. There is nothing more powerful than controlling the frequency. And so tonight I would definitely say that racism, it's almost a question that can be answered by itself. Racism is alive and well in America. When you look at Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, when you look at Eric Garner, who said 11 times, "I can't breathe," and yet and still, you ask the question, is racism still alive? It's very clear that it's still alive. When you talk about how these issues have occurred and these young black men, blacks and browns, have been brushed over and pushed aside as if they don't matter, it's very clear. But I saw in all those cases how he who controls a frequency controls a generation. And so I never will forget, and we're still fighting those cases. Eric Garner's mother is a part of our network. Trayvon Martin's mother is a part of our network. So we have a track record of calling people out and calling things out and making things well known, bringing things to light. When you talk about San Diego, you have to look at a few things. San Diego is I grew up here. I have all right. I grew up here 23 years. I have the experience of living in Southeast San Diego on Skyline Drive, going to Morris High School, going to Fulton Elementary, going to O'Farrell, okay? And seeing how, as blacks and browns and underserved and underrepresented, we were pushed aside. Our perspective didn't matter. Our opinion didn't matter. And while my other fellow blacks and browns are selling out to whites and selling out to conservatives, I ain't selling out to nobody. And I did that years. And so I saw over the 23 years that I've been in this city, the conservative card and the card of you don't matter and you got to sell out to us to matter, I saw that. In education, when you look at education in this city, and when you look at this city in general, you see a city that is racist behind closed doors. It's not overt in this city. Everything's happened internally. That's why we need to control the frequency. Because if we control the frequency, they will never be able to stop us from pushing a progressive agenda in the next year to come. When you talk about this city, you got to talk about the fact that everything's done internally. Racism's internal, perspective is internal, and you talk about a city where white supremacists and conservatives want blacks and browns to buy out and sell out. When you look at our city, you have to look at the education. You have to look at the fact that our city, right, and I think across America, this is the story in education, that we know more about George Washington than we do about Booker T. Washington. Something is wrong. Something is wrong when you got issues in our communities, and all our mayor can do is walk around in circles and go to this Charger Stadium but hasn't said a word about mass incarceration. Something is wrong. When you got a mayor who can be in the media about Charger Stadium, but he won't say a word about the fact that we only got 2 code compliance officers that go check out molding and roof caving roofs and all these issues of slumlords and these unfair housing situations. Something is wrong. So when you look at our city, you have to look on the internal and see what's happening. What I will say is this, in my closing. As a 23-year-old, I have seen what it looks like to control the narrative, to control the frequency, and to control the political realm. And they don't want blacks and browns that are my age to understand the political realm. Because if you have this kind of energy and you understand the political realm, you could work this city and run it in circles. And I know this, that when you look at next year and you look at 2016, it's great, history is great. I respect history, I thank God for history. I'm walking with history, Reverend Al Sharpton. But I'll say this, my focus is on where we are at right now. Our city is running blacks and browns in cahoots, and is running underserved and underrepresented communities in cahoots. And next year, we're gonna shift the narrative. I told them at a rally last week in front of 2,000 people down at City Hall, I told them, I said, we are going to move a progressive agenda in 2016. And where they won't open the door, we're gonna kick the door down. I think what we don't do as blacks and browns is we wanna sell out and be nice and be cute and be fun. But we don't wanna kick doors down and do the real work that it takes to make a name for our people. And I think in this time and in this moment, I am focused, along with our fellow network and others, in kicking doors down and making demands on our city and on America. I think we have to analyze the 1960s all over again. And I said this at the rally last week. We are in the 1960s all over again. It's just internal this time. And it's worse because it's not external. We have to make a decision as a people that we are going to do demonstration again, that we're going to do things that make the narrative change about the black, the brown, and the underserved and underrepresented human being. And so I think we're in a time now where we can push a progressive agenda going into 2016. I think when you talk about David Alvarez, and somebody mentioned him, you got to look at also the fact that these politicians always buy these pastors out. I'm a pastor myself, and I saw with David how they cornered David in a room because David would not answer the direct question of, will you hire blacks in your office? They hired this low down, won't do nothing but run around about a Charger Stadium mayor who hasn't done a thing for the community. You said you were bringing jobs in the community. You haven't done a thing for the community. But see, nobody wants to talk about that because we want to be nice as blacks and browns. No, I'm coming to kick the door down and make you do what you said you would do. And that's what we are coming at. So being nice is not the option anymore. We're going to kick doors down. We're going to make you do what you said you would do. We're going to make demands. We're going to control the media. We're going to run you in circles in the media, call you out in the press conferences. We're going to do whatever we have to do to make a name and make a claim for our black and brown and underserved and underrepresented communities. So if you thought I was coming to be nice to you tonight, I came to tell you that it's not about being nice, but it's about making demands. And it's about being clear on these demands. When you look at the Border Patrol, you got to look at the fact that this is not a perspective that is physical, it's mental. And these people have a mental perspective about blacks and browns in this city and in America. And we have to turn the conservative card over. We have to come at them with a new message and a new authority. We got to stop bowing down and talking about, oh, we can't make it, we can't do it, we can't. No, we are going to do it. We're going to kick the door down. We're going to make demands. You're going to do what you said you would do. We are not going to bow down. We're not going to sit down. We're going to stand up and we're going to kick doors down. That's my perspective on is racism alive and well in America. And it's very clear that it is. When you look at all the killings, when you look at all the things happening, this is very clear that racism is still here. Matter of fact, it's more deep-rooted than it's ever been. And the only way that we are going to shift and frame the narrative, and my black and brown brothers and sisters, my underserved and underrepresented brothers and sisters, we got to control the media. And we got to control the narrative. Because he who controls the frequency controls a generation. Thank you.